Radio Raheem here with Kathy Duva. I am so excited to be talking to you about a fight that's made. We've been talking for a while about a fight that we were hoping would get made. Now that the contracts are signed and these fighters have committed to the event, is the relationship between you and Rock Nation, is it smoothed out once the negotiations are done, or now are we just butting heads over who's the rightful owner of these titles?
It's about the fighters now. It really, we should not be the story. We are not the story. I'm very disturbed we were the story last time. But frankly, Sergey and Andre respected each other so much last time that the give and take between the promoters became the tension, which is awful. The tension here is between the two fighters. They have history now, and I think that's changing everything.
Well, with a multi-city tour, this often happens. We started out, I watched all the press conferences up into this one. You know, everybody's respectful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then it starts to devolve a little bit. We start taking shots. Obviously, your side believes that you didn't lose the title fairly. Is there anything that you can do in this rematch that gives you confidence that you won't face the same result again, a poor judge or a poor card that cost him the rematch?
Well, Sergey has gotten the message loud and clear that it's in your hands, and you have got to either win every round emphatically or knock him out. I think, if you think about it, leading up to this fight, at least in the 5 years I worked with him, I think Sergey lost more rounds in that fight than he lost in the previous 4 years. The idea of losing a round really wasn't in his head. And so he said yesterday, experience is the best teacher, and now he understands. I think even I read some quotes from the Russian press where Kostya, who Sergey really respects, made a statement at the end. You've got nobody to blame but yourself. And he has taken that to heart, and he knows it, and he does blame himself. So it's not that he didn't do enough to win. I think he did. I think he thinks he did. I think, something like, 85% of the people who saw the fight thought he did. But he understands now that there's politics involved in the sport, and or whatever, or humans are judging it, and they see things differently than you do, or they make mistakes or whatever. And so he's got to do more. He knows it.
You mentioned politics being involved in the sport. That's undeniable, regardless of how much we love the sport. Judging and the judges' criteria is always in question. We heard Prince up there in New York talking about, again, America versus Russia. We heard Lampley saying if it had been flipped and Ward was the Russian and Kovalev was the American, he thinks Ward would have taken a loss. Do you think that kind of setup plays in the judge's mind? If not, what kind of politics makes a guy, in your opinion, win a fight on the rounds but not win it in the cards?
I think there's way too much xenophobia in the world right now, and I don't want to add to it. I know Prince thinks he's somehow, getting the judges on his side. I asked in the negotiation, can we go to the Nevada Commission together and ask them to appoint neutral officials? So there's just no question of impropriety, and I got a hard no on that. I was told, Andre actually said, well, everybody hates Americans, so I'm not going to, agree to that. That's their view of the world. That's too bad for them. Sergey, pointed out today, he's the champ. He's a world champion. He went to Wales to win the title from a Welsh champion in Nathan Cleverly. He went right outside of Philadelphia to fight and win titles from Bernard Hopkins. He went to Canada twice to fight Jean Pascal. He is a champion of the whole world. Andre Ward won't leave the United States. He's, as Sergey said, the champion of his home. And more power to him, but it's funny because he seems to be complaining a lot that he's not getting enough respect, but he's the architect of that, because he will not take a chance, he will not take a risk, he wants everything his way. So he got everything his way again. The Nevada Commission appoints the judges. It's their decision, it's not ours. What we could have asked them together, and they might have listened to us, but they didn't want to.
You were hoping for a European or a Russian judge in addition to America. What were you looking for as the makeup of the judges? I
would like to have the conversation about, maybe we don't want to have the appearance of impropriety. Maybe when you get that much controversy, this wasn't it was a one-point fight and we disagree. This shouldn't have been a one-point fight. It wasn't. And some fights, rounds are close. Some fights, rounds are clear. If we add together the ones that Sergey won clearly with the ones that And then we look at what Ward won, the champion did not get a single close round in this fight. Something's wrong. I don't know what, I don't know why. And I rarely complain about decisions because I understand how difficult the judges' jobs are. But this one reminds me of Whitaker Chavez. This one reminds me Whitaker Ramirez, Holyfield and Lewis. This one's wrong, and that doesn't. There's just in my mind a huge difference between a close fight that could go either way and what happened here. We are going to implore the commission in Nevada to take that into account and think about it when they're appointing officials this time. It's a tough job being a judge, so I'm not that comfortable criticizing them usually, but this time seemed different.
Another underlying story of the first fight was the promotion and how successful the pay-per-view was, the venue, all of these things. So obviously getting a second bite at an apple, you always make some adjustments. What were you able to correct, or do you feel like maybe you were able to correct to have a better outcome on the numbers? And how did that play into the negotiation to make this fight happen finally?
Well, it's a bunch of things. First of all, I don't think people realize what we were up against in November. We had a fight in Las Vegas with Manny Pacquiao on pay-per-view 2 weeks before our fight. That had to knock 20% off. We also had an election going on where the NFL was 20% down because the whole country was, if it's affecting the NFL, we're dead. We kind of, as the promotion approached, we all became very aware of that. You mentioned the promotional tour. Andre Ward refused to participate in a promotional tour last time. I'm very happy that he's doing it this time. We wanted to do it last time. And you pointed out, there's good reason to do this. It does tend to bring out the way people really feel. I think he did about 3 interviews and put out 4 tweets before the last fight. He's invested now, and I'm told that he is making decisions about how to promote the fight. So God bless him. I hope if he wants to promote, I implore him to promote, because Sergey Kovalev traveled around the United States for a month before we started before we had the press conference last time, and banked interviews in Florida, in New York, in Chicago, in San Francisco, in LA, all major media. And all those interviews came out during the week of the fight, one by one. Ward did no such thing. So, you know what? He's a champion now, and if he wants to act like the champion and carry this promotion on his shoulders, it's going to make it a lot more successful. So I hope he does.
And lastly, Virgil Hunter is always good to stir the pot. The first time he stirred the pot in regards to what Sergey's cut was going to be, and did he get disadvantaged in the contract, they alluded to that again, and then made a even more, well, I don't know if it's outrageous, it's outrageous if it's not true, but he made reference to Sergey being a drinker and saying that, he can't drink vodka all the time and expect longevity in the sport. So, of course, my question to you is twofold. Has the deal for Sergey changed? Is he making more money for the rematch? Did he need to? And are you at all concerned about this drinking allegation that it somehow takes away from his performance?
Okay, first question. All right, here's what hasn't changed. In the first promotion, the rich man who owns the company that promotes Andre Ward took money out of his pocket and gave him money to fight, which is why he got a much bigger amount of money than Sergey, even though we got a bigger cut of the proceeds.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That hasn't changed. The rich man is giving him even more money this time. So God bless. More power to him. Sergey actually earns his money. There's some dignity in that. If some rich guy wanted to come along and hand Sergey money, I guess we'd take it. So I'm happy for them that they got what they want. But when they start to talk about, well, he's not getting his fair share. We had the lion's share of the split last time. We have exactly what, we don't have the lion's share this time, but we have exactly what we bargained for a year and a half ago when it comes to the split. What we don't have is a benefactor who gives Sergey money just because he wants to watch him fight. So, again, if you have a sugar daddy out there taking care of you, that's great. But you don't have the right to get up there and then criticize the person who's out earning this money. That's my feeling about that. And as far as, what was the second part? Was drinking. Yeah, good. They can believe whatever they want. They can believe whatever the hell they want.
Radio Raheem with Kathy Duva. Main events. Thank you for putting on this main event. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We will see you in Las Vegas and along this road of promotion.